Welcome to a secret from old Hollywood. Have you ever heard a wild story about famous actresses removing their own ribs to get tiny waists? For years, gossip columns claimed movie stars cut out bones just to look like perfect dolls on camera. Is any of it true? In this special scrapbook, we will meet 10 Golden Age legends. We will look at their real lives, their movie magic, and finally check the famous rib removal rumor. Spoiler alert, it is almost certainly a tall tale. But the real stories behind the glamour are even more fascinating. Let's turn the page and discover the truth together. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe remains the most famous blonde in cinema history. She dazzled audiences in classics like Some Like It, Hot and Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. For decades, gossip magazines claimed she had 2 lower ribs removed to create her famous hourglass shape. The rumor spread because her waist looked impossibly tiny next to her curvy hips. But the medical truth is very different. Marilyn never had rib surgery. Doctors and fashion historians agree her shape was completely natural. On movie sets, costume designers used clever tailoring tricks. They built special corsets into her dresses and sewed the fabric directly to her body to accentuate her natural curves. In real life, Marilyn wore a comfortable size 12. She loved hearty meals like meatloaf and ice cream, and she kept fit with daily walks and light weights. If she had truly removed bones, she would have needed months of painful recovery. She never missed filming for surgery. No surgeon ever claimed to have operated on her. Marilyn's famous silhouette came from genetics, smart styling, and hard work. She kept every single bone in her body and proved that natural beauty is more than enough. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow lit up 1930s screens as the original platinum blonde. Her striking white hair and tiny waist in films like Red Dust made fans go wild. Naturally, the rib removal rumor followed her everywhere. Some people insisted she had surgery to look like a living cartoon character. The reality is much simpler and safer. Jean relied on a very tight wasp waist corset made of stiff canvas and steel. This garment squeezed her middle so firmly that she sometimes felt dizzy between scenes. Costume designers also added light padding to her hips. This simple trick made her natural waist appear even smaller. Jean actually found the rumor quite funny. She once told a journalist that removing ribs would leave her breathless and unable to speak her movie lines. She was absolutely right. Surgery in the 1930s was extremely risky, with limited anesthesia and long healing times. Jean often filmed 3 movies in a single year. She simply did not have time for dangerous operations. After her untimely passing at age 26, medical reports confirmed her ribcage was completely intact and faced the silly gossip with a bright, cheerful smile. Greta Garbo. Greta Garbo captivated the world with her quiet mystery and graceful presence. She starred in silent masterpieces like Flesh and the Devil and early talking films like Grand Hotel. Because of her naturally slender frame, false stories claimed she had 4 ribs removed to stay incredibly thin. Think about the logic of that claim. Removing 4 ribs would leave a person's lungs dangerously exposed to everyday bumps. Greta enjoyed a long, active career spanning 20 years. At glamorous Hollywood parties, she wore elegant, low-cut gowns that revealed her shoulders and back. If she had undergone major surgery, scars would have been clearly visible. The simple truth is that Greta was born with a light, narrow build. She also tended to skip meals when she felt nervous about her roles. She preferred long walks to stay healthy and clear her mind. Later, when she retired from acting, her weight naturally shifted like anyone else's. If bones had been permanently removed, her shape would never have changed. Greta lived to the age of 84, fully intact, proving that some silhouettes are simply a gift of nature. Marlene Dietrich. Marlene Dietrich broke Hollywood rules with her bold style and confident attitude. She looked stunning in tailored suits and glamorous evening dresses for films like The Blue Angel. Her remarkably small waist sparked endless rumors about surgical alterations. Some whispered that she had the procedure done in Europe before arriving in America. Marlene, however, was refreshingly honest about her methods. She openly discussed her reliance on a custom-made corset constructed from thick rubber and flexible steel. She wore this supportive garment for decades, using it to gently train her waist from 25 inches down to 18. That is smaller than a standard dinner plate. She also practiced excellent posture and learned to eat very modest portions. Between takes, she would quietly practice holding her stomach muscles tight to look even slimmer on camera. When reporters asked about the surgery gossip, Marlene would simply smile and say it made her sound more mysterious. Privately, she called the idea completely foolish and unsafe. Physicians who treated her confirmed her ribcage was perfectly normal. Marlene kept her bones, but she happily played along with the Hollywood magic to keep audiences guessing. Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth mesmerized audiences with her flowing red hair and graceful dance moves. In the classic film Gilda, her figure in a sleek black dress seemed almost unreal. Gossip columns quickly claimed she had ribs extracted to achieve that perfect shape. The actual explanation requires no surgery at all. Rita's naturally narrow waist came from years of professional dance training. Dancing from childhood built incredibly strong, flat stomach muscles. For her movie roles, costume experts designed a special leather belt reinforced with thin steel strips. She would wear it so tightly that breathing became difficult. Once the belt was secured, her costume was literally stitched into place around it. This created a flawless hourglass illusion for the camera lens. Between scenes, Rita would quickly loosen the straps to catch her breath. She even fainted once from wearing it too long, yet she never considered bone removal. Rita gave birth to 2 healthy daughters. Major skeletal surgery would have made those pregnancies extremely risky. After she retired, her figure softened naturally, proving that tight belts were the only secret. Rita relied on dance discipline and clever costuming, never a surgeon's knife. Bette Davis. Bette Davis was never famous for a tiny waist. She was celebrated for her piercing eyes, sharp voice, and incredible acting talent. She delivered legendary performances in All About Eve and Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. So why does her name appear in this rumor list? A bizarre story once claimed she removed a rib to look sharper and more frightening in a period film. This is easily the most unlikely myth of them all. Bette cared deeply about her craft, not about looking like a fashion model. In her own autobiography, she firmly stated that she kept all her ribs because she needed them to project her voice during intense dramatic scenes. She also noted that altering bones for a single movie role would be completely irrational. Bette was famous for speaking her mind. If the rumor had any truth, she would have loudly corrected the press. Instead, she ignored it because it was simply, doctors confirmed she had a completely normal skeleton. Her occasional back pain came from wearing heavy vintage costumes and walking in tall heels. Bette won 2 Academy Awards and never needed to change her bones. Her brilliant talent was more than enough to captivate the world. Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner arrived in Hollywood with a natural Southern charm and a beautifully curved figure. She starred in thrilling films like The Killers and Mogambo. Her striking hourglass shape led some to whisper about secret surgical procedures. They claimed she visited a European clinic to have bones removed. However, Ava lived a very open and active life that completely contradicts this idea. She adored Southern comfort food and enjoyed late-night dancing with friends. If she had missing ribs, everyday activities like dancing or laughing would cause constant discomfort. She also experienced several passionate but turbulent relationships. Her body survived car accidents and physical struggles without any skeletal complications. In her memoir, Ava addressed the gossip directly. She explained that her waistline came from her mother's genetics and a naturally light frame. She admitted to wearing supportive corsets for certain film roles, but she firmly denied ever stepping into an operating room for cosmetics. She called the bone removal story a pointless fairy tale invented by bored journalists. Medical examinations later in life confirmed her skeleton was completely intact. Ava kept all her ribs and lived a vibrant, unforgettable life until she passed away at 67. Lana Turner. Lana Turner earned the nickname the Sweater Girl because her fitted sweaters and dresses highlighted her graceful figure. She captivated audiences in dramatic films like The Postman, Always Rings Twice, and Imitation of Life. Her tiny waist in publicity photos sparked the usual surgical rumors. People assumed she had ribs removed to achieve that flawless sweater girl silhouette. The truth reveals the clever work of Hollywood's costume departments. Lana possessed a naturally balanced hourglass shape. Studio designers enhanced this by creating custom dresses with hidden internal belts and light hip padding. These invisible tricks made her waist appear dramatically smaller on film than it was in reality. Her actual measurements were perfectly healthy and normal for a slender woman. Additionally, Lana maintained a demanding filming schedule, often starring in 2 or 3 movies each year for over 20 years. She simply never had the free time required for major surgery. She also welcomed a daughter into her life. Pregnancy and childbirth proceeded normally, which would have been highly complicated if her rib cage were altered. Lana once joked that the only thing she ever removed was an unkind husband. Her famous look came from fashion design, natural beauty, and a busy, successful career. Clara Bow. Clara Bow captured the spirit of the Roaring Twenties as the original It Girl. With her lively red hair and energetic personality, she became the face of the jazz age. Fashion in the 1920s favored straight, boyish silhouettes, and Clara's naturally slim waist fit the trend perfectly. Decades later, false stories emerged claiming she had ribs removed to fit into those flat drop-waist dresses. This myth falls apart when you look at her background and lifestyle. Clara grew up in a modest Brooklyn household with very little money. She could not have afforded expensive, risky surgery when she was young. By the time she became wealthy and famous, she was already naturally thin from constant dancing and hard work. Clara was also highly athletic. She loved climbing trees, playing outdoor sports, and running around busy movie sets. Missing ribs would have made those vigorous activities incredibly painful. She also gave birth to 3 healthy children. Doctors confirm that skeletal alterations often cause serious complications during pregnancy. After retiring from Hollywood, Clara moved to a ranch and rode horses daily. The bouncing motion of horseback riding would be unbearable without a full ribcage. Clara kept all her bones and enjoyed an active, joyful life. Did any Golden Age star truly remove a rib for the camera? The honest answer is a firm no, not a single one. These remarkable performers brought us unforgettable stories, not missing bones. The rib rumor was never real magic. It was just clever movie lighting, expert tailoring, and a lot of imagination. Today, we know that healthy bodies come in all shapes and sizes. You never need to change your bones to be special or successful. The next time you watch a classic film, appreciate the real talent behind the glamorous costumes. Thank you for exploring this Hollywood scrapbook with me. Now grab your favorite snack, press play, and enjoy the true magic of cinema.